This is 9 News with Peter Overton.
Good evening. There are fears tonight Cyclone Alfred is shaping up to be a 3-in-1 natural disaster, bringing a devastating storm surge, powerful winds, then unrelenting rain. The rare storm is now tracking to hit Brisbane head-on, with vulnerable communities down into northern New South Wales being warned to start evacuating now. Mark Burrows begins our coverage.
Currumbin Beach on the Gold Coast, washing in the car park this afternoon. A cyclone surge set to be repeated up and down the coast. Brisbane, 2.5 million people, a city trying to sandbag itself from a cyclone, armed with a triple threat, punishing gales, torrential rain and a devastating storm surge.
This is a rare event. To have a tropical cyclone in an area that is not classified as part of the tropics.
The latest tracking shows the Category 2 cyclone crossing just south of Brisbane Friday morning around 7 a.m. From Gympie down to Taree, a near 900-kilometre stretch will be lashed. In Brisbane, new storm surge and flood modelling has some 20,000 homes at risk. Areas like Oxley and Windsor, low-lying suburbs and those near creeks, Boondall, Wilston and Rockley, before and after.
We are facing the potential that a cyclone could in fact cross the coast on high tide in the middle of the night.
Cyclone Alfred hasn't reached the coast, but it's already causing trouble. At Currumbin, a cyclonic swell almost sweeping 2 cars out to sea. Coastal communities that will be hit are being told now is the time to evacuate if they don't want to ride out the storm at home.
You guys are aware of a cyclone on the way? Yeah.
The cyclone is 300 kilometres off the coast and picking up speed. It's also gathering intensity and could land as a Category 3. Brisbane is going into its shell. Tomorrow, the Gateway Bridge will be closed. Schools will shut for 2 days. And starting tomorrow, no public transport. 1,000 electricity crews are on standby to restore power. There's been a rush on supermarkets. Coles and Woolworths forced to work non-stop to restock shelves.
It's going to devastate a lot of people all over again. But then I'm feeling for Lismore as well, because, I mean, how many times are they going to go through it?
The sea wall on the Gold Coast, enormous waves, and still people taking risks. South of the border at Lennox Head, people were being washed off the boardwalk. From today, 264 schools on the North Coast will be closed.
It means that we can have a little bit more time to batten down the hatches at home and prepare for the next 2 days at home with the kids.
The Premier is urging anyone, if they feel vulnerable, staying at home, to get out.
The New South Wales government's also setting up seven evacuation centres that will be available from 4 p.m. this afternoon. They're sprinkled throughout the Northern Rivers area.
All Qantas and Jetstar flights into Ballina have been cancelled. Gold Coast Airport closed at 4 p.m. today.
The key message is we can expect from this system, along with destructive winds, extensive flooding, most likely major flooding, as well as the real potential for some very dangerous and life-threatening flash flooding.
I cannot underestimate to the public the severity of this event that's about to encroach on us.
From the border to the mid-north coast, 100,000 sandbags are available. At Coffs Harbour, a heavy-lift helicopter is in position to deliver supplies or evacuate the stranded.
Depending on what the storm's going to do, maybe move us around Brisbane area.
The cyclone is yet to hit, but in New South Wales, pre-planning for the recovery has already started. The message from the floods of 2022, recovery has to happen quickly. Mark Burrows, 9 News.
All right, North Stradbroke Island off Brisbane will be one of the first at-risk areas to feel the impact of the cyclone. Nine's Claire Todd-Hunter is at Point Lookout for us tonight. Claire, what are conditions like there at the moment?
Well, they really are starting to feel feel cyclonic at this point, Peter. It didn't feel this way when we arrived earlier today. We did have some strong gusty winds and a bit of heavy rain as well, but really only just in the last half hour or even in the last 10 minutes we've started getting some sideways rain coming in, and it's really pelting down, feeling a little bit more like we were getting hit by sand or something, but it's just this heavy rain. You can probably see behind me that the swell is really starting to take off as well. We did speak to some locals here today on Stradbroke Island after evacuations took place overnight. 68 people taken off the island, many choosing to stay. We spoke to a few who said they do feel safe and comfortable.
We get big low pressure systems come past here with 70 and 80 knot winds in them.
Have you been door knocked at all here or told to evacuate?
No, a couple of police come around yesterday. I got nowhere else to go.
We really feel we're quite safe here.
Peter, Alfred is getting closer and closer. The latest modelling from the Bureau of Meteorology shows it'll hit, the eye of that cyclone will hit not far from here, just north of Stradbroke Island, between here and Moreton Island as well. That's expected to happen in the early hours of Friday morning.
OK, Claire, we'll leave you on North Stradbroke Island. We'll go to Alex Heinke now in Ballina. Alex, it's a tale of two towns. Some are leaving, but some are deciding to stay.
And all of them, Pete, have a story to tell, heavily influenced by what happened here 3 years ago. The last time the Northern Rivers region flooded, 5 people lost their lives and 4,000 homes were impacted. Now, some of the people that I've spoken to today will not abandon their properties. They will not go away without a fight. And as you'll see in just a second, the determination of this community is already on full display.
When Paul Pateson's Lismore home started going under in the 2022 flood, he and a neighbouring family escaped in his boat. Once the water receded and the government offered to buy it back for $500,000, all of his neighbours accepted. Paul refused, renovating and even creating a floatable shed to protect his belongings.
Well, I'm really prepared. I've built myself a little attic space up in the attic now so that I've got somewhere to go there if I have to. Yeah. And the boat's always there. I've got a few boats actually. If it comes in the house, I'll be doing it all over again.
And history is repeating. It's now feared Lismore's levy may not hold.
I cannot underestimate to the public the severity of this event that's about to encroach on us.
In town, locals prepare, businesses sandbagging and moving their stock to higher ground. This fruit shop has been flooded before. Its owner says he'll stay as long as he can.
I only need about 6 hours and that'll give me time to pack up and get out. But at the moment I won't be doing anything until we find that the rivers are starting to rise.
Evacuation centres have been set up and hundreds of extra SES personnel have been mobilised.
Our planning is for something akin to the 2022 natural disaster in Lismore, but I hope it's less than that.
We have learnt from 2022 and we understand that speed to recovery is essential for the community.
It's anticipation, it's anxiety, it's a high level of stress. I know you can't predict the weather and you can't forecast what's to come, but this is just way too close to what we had to live through in 2022.
For people across the Northern Rivers, including here in Ballina, they are battle-hardened when it comes to rain like this. Up to 800 mils expected over the next 4 days. But the wild card in this system is the wind.
In Ballina, Mother Nature is putting on a show. One that could soon bring tears and trauma. Joanne and Stephen Samaradelli's home was flooded twice in 2022. They're preparing as best they can.
It's more about the kids, and they woke up in the middle of the night last night scared and crying and all that sort of stuff, and it wasn't that bad last night. It's going to get a lot worse.
Indy and Levi Willoughby were also flooded out in 2022 from the river behind and the street out front. Repairs were only finished last year. They've taken a novel approach to stop it this time, including water-filled bladders.
Yeah, we had the walls built and the bladders made up, just in case it happens again, and here we are, it could be happening again. So pretty much just filling up full of water, and that should stop the strong winds pushing the water over the wall and into the house.
Hope for many ahead of a tense wait. In Lismore, Alex Heinke, 9 News.
OK, let's bring in Amber. Amber, which areas in the state's north are on flood watch?
Good evening to you, Pete. There's a flood watch along the northern rivers and the mid-north coast from tomorrow. The heaviest rain will be south of the cyclone, so the location of the worst affected areas will depend on how it tracks, but Lismore, Byron Bay and Grafton are in the firing line. Moderate to major flooding, which may lead to flash flooding, is expected in at least 16 rivers and creeks, including the Tweed, Brunswick, Wilsons, Richmond and Clarence rivers. There's a coastal hazard warning for damaging surf, erosion and abnormally high tides, and a warning for strong to storm force winds from the Hunter to Byron with gusts of up to 155 kilometres an hour. Pete?
Amber, thank you.